The story opens with Linda Little, a middle-aged woman who has been with a large corporation for many years. Although she possesses very solid expertise, Linda is quite awkward in communication, making her unpopular with her colleagues. Not only that, her sloppy sense of dress and frequently greasy hair make her look even older than her actual age. Overall, Linda looks more like an older lady than a normal office worker. She also has a habit of eating tuna sandwiches right at her desk, causing an unpleasant smell to spread around and annoy everyone. Linda lives alone in a small apartment with only a bird for a friend. She often spends her time watching reality shows about survival skills. Even though her life is quite boring, Linda still harbors the hope of being promoted because the former chairman had promised to elevate her from manager to vice president. Currently, his son Bradley Preston has just taken over the company. However, he wants to put someone else, Donovan, his confidant, in that position. Donovan is the type of person who lacks competence but frequently takes credit for Linda's work. In return, he is very good at currying favor with Bradley, so he is favored. Upon learning that she was passed over for the promotion and her replacement is Donovan, a guy who has been with the company for less than 6 months, Linda cannot hide her frustration and goes to confront Bradley directly. He explains that although Linda is very good at her profession, she is not suitable for a leadership role due to poor communication skills, not knowing how to play golf, and a lack of experience in signing contracts. Nevertheless, Bradley still offers Linda to join a business trip to Bangkok related to a merger deal as an opportunity for her to prove her capabilities. In reality, no one in the company is capable of handling the data portion of the project besides Linda. During their conversation, Bradley's fiancée Zuri walks in. She possesses a striking appearance with a slender figure, a fashionable dress, and a large diamond engagement ring on her hand. After the conversation, Linda feels extremely sorry for herself as her efforts over many years seem to go unrecognized. It does not stop there. She is also alienated by her colleagues, making her feel like she does not belong here. A few days later, Linda and Bradley's team board a private jet to go to Bangkok. While she works diligently, the remaining men only discuss entertainment and playing golf. Donovan even finds an introduction video that Linda once submitted to participate in a survival show. The whole group takes turns laughing at and mocking her. Right at that moment, the plane suddenly shakes violently and the engine malfunctions. The window glass begins to crack and a person is sucked out. Donovan also falls into a similar situation, but manages to grab onto Linda's leg, dragging another person who clings on behind him. In the chaos, he even tries to strangle Linda to gain an advantage. Reacting quickly, Linda grabs a fork and stabs his hand, causing the other two to be swept outside. After that, the plane crashes into the sea and gradually sinks. Linda quickly unfastens her seatbelt and swims to the surface. Fortunately, there is a small island ahead. When she wakes up the next morning, she realizes she has washed ashore. Observing her surroundings, Linda sees this as an island covered with dense vegetation. Not long after, she discovers another survivor, Bradley himself. He is injured in the leg after the accident. Thanks to the survival knowledge she has learned, Linda quickly builds a temporary tent out of leaves for him to rest. She also utilizes coconut shells to catch rainwater. By the next day, Bradley wakes up and is given water to drink by Linda. She has also managed to start a fire using coconut husk, extremely excited that her knowledge has been successfully applied in reality. Linda even catches fish and grills them, helping keep both of them from going hungry. That night, while sitting in front of the vast ocean, despite being stranded on a deserted island, Linda feels a strange sense of happiness, as if this is where she truly belongs. In contrast, Bradley appears depressed and worried about when they will be rescued. He is frustrated when Linda does not focus on sending distress signals, like writing saws on the sand or looking for communication devices from the plane, but instead spends her time taking care of their daily living needs. He asserts that he is still her superior and demands that she obey him. Linda does not reply, only silently brings water and food and then leaves. By late afternoon, Bradley falls into a state of exhaustion from hunger and thirst, and his leg hurts too much to move. It is not until noon the next day, which is almost a day later, that Linda returns, and only then does he have water to drink. She calmly states that this is not the office and he needs to understand that. At this point, Bradley is completely obedient. Afterwards, Linda reveals that she has discovered wild boar footprints and plans to go hunting for a nutrient-rich food source to help them hold out while waiting for rescue. Having said that, she takes a homemade spear and heads deep into the forest. Following the animal's tracks, Linda finally finds her target. The wild boar suddenly lunges forward, knocking her to the ground. Immediately after, Linda takes advantage from a higher position, launching a surprise attack directly at it. The animal turns around to react, but continues to take the full brunt of her attack. Even so, it stubbornly resists, forcing Linda to strike a few more times before she can completely subdue it. Afterwards, Linda brings the animal's head back and throws it down in front of Bradley, causing him to panic. However, that night, both of them have a delicious barbecue from that result. The next morning, while bathing under a small waterfall, Linda suddenly hears the engine sound of a boat passing by. She intends to call out for help but suddenly stops, muttering that the timing is not yet right. Linda then returns without revealing this to Bradley because she feels life here is much more pleasant than the old world, where she was always undervalued. Meanwhile, Bradley suggests that they should build a raft to leave the island. Linda opposes the idea, arguing that it is best to stay and wait to be rescued. Unable to reach an agreement, an angry Bradley declares he will live separately, and also claims that building a tent only requires a few leaves and branches. But with his pampered nature, he cannot accomplish anything worthwhile. From building a shelter to starting a fire, he fails at everything, to the point where, being too hungry, Bradley even tries eating an insect but cannot stomach it. Meanwhile, Linda catches fish and prepares them into an appealing sashimi dish. Bradley is surprised to see a knife on the table, and Linda explains that she picked it up after it washed ashore. With no other choice, Bradley humbles himself and apologizes to Linda for his previous actions. Sensing his sincerity, she accepts it and lets him share the meal. After finishing the meal, Linda leads Bradley up a high hill with a small and rather dangerous path, from which they can see the panoramic view of the sea. She points out to him two rocks arranged in an X shape ahead, warning that the area has many dangerous thorny bushes and vines, so he must absolutely not go near it. On the way back, the ground suddenly caves in, causing Linda to fall down. Fortunately, she manages to grab a vine in time and is pulled up safely by Bradley. That afternoon, Linda finds a bunch of green bananas and buries them in the hot coals, creating a delicious roasted banana dish. She also reveals that she has brewed some liquor from wild fruits, since there is not much else to do on this island. So that night, the two of them drink liquor and talk together. Thanks to the alcohol, Linda begins to open up. She recounts that she once had a marriage that lasted 10 years, but her husband passed away after a traffic accident. He frequently drank alcohol, and every time he lost control, he became hot-tempered, committing terrifying acts. Whenever this happened, Linda would hide his car keys to prevent anything bad from occurring. However, one night, things escalated into a massive argument. This time, Linda left the keys on the table and did not stop him anymore. As a result, her husband left and got into a fatal accident. Linda admits that she has never told this story to anyone. The next morning, upon waking up from her hangover, Linda accidentally sees Bradley bathing in the sea. That sight makes her flustered. By the afternoon, a large storm suddenly strikes, destroying their entire shelter. Both are forced to go into a rocky cave to take shelter from the storm. Because it is too cold, Bradley hugs Linda to keep warm, and that closeness causes her to begin developing special feelings. Linda realizes she seems to have developed feelings for this man. The next day, both of them rebuild their shelter in a higher location. By evening, Bradley prepares a meal himself, making Linda very happy. But after just a few bites, she suddenly feels dizzy and collapses. It turns out, Bradley had secretly put a harmful type of fruit into the food with the intention of leaving the island on the raft he had secretly prepared beforehand. However, due to his lack of experience, the raft is smashed by the waves as soon as it hits the water. He himself is also swept into the sea. Afterwards, Bradley is pulled ashore by Linda. In a state of simultaneously vomiting the poison and trying to support him, she still makes an effort to help him recover. The situation is so ironic that, whether he wants to or not, Bradley is forced to wake up. The next morning, Linda does not show any anger. On the contrary, she even prepares grilled octopus for Bradley. However, after just a few minutes, his body begins to lose sensation and gradually becomes paralyzed. It turns out it is a blue, ringed octopus, which contains a neurotoxin that renders the person who eats it unable to move and causes them to almost completely lose sensation. Linda then sharpens the knife and heats it over the fire, pulling Bradley's pants down while saying that when people want to keep an animal from leaving the house, they often choose a way to handle it. Hearing this, Bradley is utterly terrified but cannot react because his body has been incapacitated. Linda bends down with the knife in her hand. A few seconds later, a scene makes Bradley feel as if he is collapsing, tears streaming down because he thinks he is about to pay a heavy price. But in the end, the thing being dealt with is just a rat. Linda coldly says that this is merely a warning, and if there is a next time, things will not be so simple. 2 days later, while Linda is out picking mangoes, a boat suddenly appears. The person on the boat is none other than Zuri, Bradley's fiancée. When she sees Linda, she is incredibly overjoyed. Accompanying Zuri is a local resident. She says that although the search team had withdrawn, she still rented a boat herself to continue the search. Upon learning that Bradley is still alive, Zuri immediately demands that Linda take her to see him. On the outside, Linda appears happy, but inside, other calculations are brewing. Realizing that no one knows they found their way here, Linda starts to hatch a dangerous plan. When reaching the area near where she had previously fallen, Linda pretends to stop because her shoelace is untied, letting Zuri go ahead. Just as expected, Zuri suddenly slips and falls down. The man accompanying her immediately lunges forward to try to hold her back. Although both continuously cry for help, Linda remains standing still, even using a rock to make the situation worse, causing both of them to fall into the abyss. After that, Linda returns to the tent area with a dazed expression. Bradley feels that something is wrong. That day, Linda just lies still in one place, her mind in turmoil. For anyone, causing such a serious incident for the first time would leave a massive shock, let alone to two people at the same time.
Why? You are!
The next morning, when Bradley goes hunting, he accidentally discovers a hand protruding from the ground, on which still wears the familiar diamond ring. Instantly, he realizes that it is Zuri. Both in pain and outraged, Bradley immediately returns and questions Linda about what happened to his fiancée. Linda tries to explain that it was just an accident due to Zuri slipping, and she did not tell him right away for fear that he would not believe her. But Bradley does not accept that explanation. He coldly uses sarcasm, suggesting that this is no different from the accident that previously happened to her husband. Right at that moment, Bradley suddenly pulls out the knife. It is unclear when he took it. Linda immediately turns around and runs away into the forest. When Bradley catches up, she unexpectedly sets a trap, using a rope to tightly strangle his neck from behind. While fighting back, Bradley accidentally rips off Linda's fake scalp, thus managing to break free. The two then clash into each other in a fierce struggle. Linda bites and tears as if out of control, while Bradley tries to counterattack to gain the upper hand. In the chaos, Linda snatches the ring and swallows it straight into her stomach. Bradley furiously lunges forward, but she manages to grab the knife and delivers a blow that stuns him. Realizing he cannot overpower his opponent, Bradley turns his head and runs away toward the area with the two X-shaped rocks. However, a surprising truth is revealed: that place does not have any dangerous vines or thorny bushes, but rather a luxurious villa situated right on the hillside. Bradley is stunned, unable to believe his eyes. He immediately runs over and steps inside. Inside, there is plenty of food and drinks. Just then, Linda's voice rings out through the speaker system. She says that she has put all the knives away, so he does not need to search for them. It turns out Linda is monitoring everything through the cameras. Linda reveals that this villa belongs to a Wall Street billionaire. When she discovered this place, she disabled the security system. In fact, they could have left the island a long time ago, but Linda did not want to return to her old life. The boat she had previously seen was actually a supply vessel for the villa, through which she learned the password, found the knife, and enjoyed a well-stocked life. She admits that everything after that went beyond her expectations. While the two were living peacefully, the appearance of other people complicated the situation and led to what had happened. Having said that, Linda steps out with a shotgun in her hands. Seeing the disadvantageous situation, Bradley immediately kneels down, acts vulnerable, and uses sweet words to persuade her. He says that Linda is a special person no one has ever cared for and helped him change like her. He affirms his feelings and is willing to stay here with her without needing to return. Those words make Linda waver, but unexpectedly, Bradley had hidden a decorative horn behind him and lunges forward to attack, causing her to drop the gun. The situation immediately reverses, but ironically, the gun has no bullets. Right after that, Linda grabs a golf club and delivers a decisive blow, leaving Bradley unable to defend himself. The movie jumps to nearly a year later. Linda has now completely changed. She has become famous after the plane crash as the sole survivor. Not only that, but she has also published a book, and her story is about to be adapted into a movie. The story concludes here. Who do you think is truly the villain in this story? Please leave your opinion below. How do you feel about the movie? Do not hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you, and see you again.